Good day, OA. My name is Lionel Garcia, and I'm your Vice President of Sales and Agent Development. And I'm excited because every single week we get to do this fun thing I get to do with all of you called Motivation Monday. And today we're going to be tackling one of those biggest challenges for many of you, and that is time management. And that's because if you can master your time, you can master your business. And so today we're going to talk about some of these advanced time management techniques. But before we jump into those time management techniques, let's share our wins of the week. I love talking about and sharing and celebrating the many wins that all of you do have. And so let's jump in. What were your wins last week, over the weekend? Were they personal? Are they professional? I know for me on the personal side, we had a really wonderful weekend. We celebrated my son's birthday. He turned 10. Grant really pretty much got everything he wanted, was surrounded by friends and family. This was our first year trick-or-treating in this new neighborhood, and the kids got more candy than they know what to do with. They even came up with a strategy where they asked if we would trade candy for money. Yeah. So they wanted us to, they're asking us for $25 in exchange for the majority of their candy. Sounds like a good bet or a good trade. I don't know, but we'll see how that plays out. We're in the middle of negotiating that. Now, on the professional side, my wins for this week were really neat. Number one, I finalized our movers and shakers list. So that's going to be published here pretty soon later on this week. We are completing the last touches of our OA Connect newsletter that's going to go out later on this week. And that's exciting. We are still working really hard in finalizing the details to get you ready to sign up for conference next year, 2026. And lastly, this week, I get to drive down to Fort Lauderdale and visit with any of you who are going to be at Cruise World. So those are my wins. So I can't wait to see what your wins are. And please feel free to share them because it's going to be nice to celebrate those things. So truly, let's talk about why is it that time management matters so much. And well, really, as a professional in this business, your day, I know, is packed with client calls, itinerary planning, supplier negotiations, marketing. And so the truth is, without a structure, it can be very easily become very overwhelmed. And that's why advanced time management techniques can help you work smarter, not harder. And I know you hear that and it's so cliche, but it's so true. And so I don't think that I'm going to share anything with you today that maybe you haven't heard of. I'm going to maybe give it a name and maybe remind you of the things that you can put into place to help you with your business. And so that first technique is called the Pomodoro technique. And the Pomodoro, if you've heard the name, it's the Italian name for a tomato. And it really references the old kitchen timers, tomato-shaped timers. So this technique, this is how it works. You set a time for 25 minutes and you focus on one task for just those 25 minutes. I know that's so hard, but once that timer rings, then you take a 5-minute break. So it's like, take a little break. And then after 4 cycles of this, so you get to essentially work for about an hour and a half or so, you get to take a longer break, 15 to 30 minutes. And this is then going to give you an opportunity to reduce that mental fatigue, keep you focused. And here's what's really neat. I found that there are some apps that you can use. So here's your little pro tip. There's an app called Focus Booster and an app called Tomato Timer that you can use if you think this Pomodoro technique could be helpful for you. All right. So that was pretty neat, the Pomodoro technique. Number 2, we're going to talk about is time blocking. And time blocking is, instead of reacting to your day, you get to design it. You know, this is so hard too, because I know many of us in our businesses, we become very reactive to the business. As things come in, we start going right away and we have to tackle it because we don't want people to wait for us. But the truth is, you get to block out time for your client calls. You get to block out time for your marketing, block out time for administrative duties. You even get to block out time for learning. I think this is so important and valuable for you because sometimes we get so busy, especially being reactive, that we don't spend enough time in investing in ourselves. So time blocking is another great strategy. And here's your pro tip, right? Number one, you have to treat these meetings and calendar blocks as appointments. They're non-negotiable. Okay, so color code your calendar for clarity and stick to it. I know, of course, easier said than done, but I think it's a valuable tool, this time blocking technique. And I'm curious how many of you are using the Pomodoro technique or using the time blocking technique, or you're not using any techniques and you're just responding. And so it's important to kind of keep in mind which one are you using. And that's why I wanted to put a name to these. So here's two other ones that you should consider and maybe you want to try. The first of which is the 2-minute rule. And it's really easy. If it's going to take you less than 2 minutes to do it, get it done. Easy enough. So if you know it's going to take you less than 2 minutes to get this one done, whatever that task or activity is, go for it. Get it done right now. And lastly, we have the batch processing. And this is where you get to group similar tasks together and you handle it all at one time. So for example, maybe you handle all your social media posts in one session of instead of throughout the day. And I think that's so hard to do because it's easy, especially with social media. It's happened to me. I have it up here. I see a notification, bing, off I go to it. And now I start updating something, or as I'm going through it, I see somebody share an event or an invitation. I'm like, oh, I want to do the same thing. So which one of those four are you doing? The Pomodoro effect, Pomodoro technique? Are you doing the time blocking? Are you using the 2-minute rule? I think that's one that I probably use the most. And I try to say it's only going to take me 2 minutes. Or are you doing batch processing? All right. So think about that. What are the ones you're doing? Let's jump in with our motivational moment. And that's the fact that you can't create more hours in a day, but you are in control and can create more value in the hours that you have. And that's why tackling time management, tackling these techniques and becoming a master of these techniques can really help you take ownership of your day and take control of your business and where your time goes and add that value into your business. So here is my call to action. I will tell you, many of you last week did respond with your call to action and I loved it. So let's jump in. Here it is. This is your call to action this week. All right. I want you to pick one technique and commit for it for 7 days. I know it's crazy, but next week, Monday, when we have our next call, I want you to share which of these techniques you did. And either you could share it on the call as one of your wins, or you could just comment or tag us, OutsideAgents.com. We want to celebrate your wins and your success and how you're taking ownership of your time, which in turn is going to create more time for you in your business and hopefully give you some of that success that you're hoping to achieve. All right. Every single week, we have our quote of the day. And this week is no different. We have a quote from William Penn. It goes with our theme. Time is what we want most, but what we use worst. Is that crazy? Time is what we want the most, but is what we use the worst. And I think if we're real with ourselves, we could understand that we could be better managers of our time. And that's why I wanted to share with you some of these techniques and put names to them, because maybe you're already doing them, but now you have a name for it. By the way, it helps me. If you ask my family and or my kids, you might even want to ask Dan. They might say I'm a little bit of a procrastinator. So I am only sharing this to help me, but also help all of you. And I was wondering why I hadn't heard any comments, but I love this. So Sue, you enjoy these even more, even though I never watch them live. But hey, Sue, guess what? You are watching it live today. I am live. I brought you on there, so you are seeing it live. So I'm glad you are enjoying this. That's really great. So now you got the quote. I want to say thank you so much for joining me today. And so until next Monday, I want you to stay motivated, stay productive, and keep building that travel business that you dream of. See you soon. Bye.